Hello, everyone. Thank you for viewing today's presentation, Help Simplify Data Migrations to Microsoft 365 with Migration Services from FastTrack. My name is Manuel Acevedo, and I am a Senior Service Engineer with FastTrack for Microsoft 365 data migrations. Today, we're going to cover a number of topics which can help customers and partners migrate to Microsoft 365. We'll start with a brief discussion about the various options you have as you begin your migration plan. You'll hear about the 4 key benefits of using FastTrack for your data migration. We'll then explain how FastTrack benefits both customers and partners. You'll walk away with an understanding of the migration experience and see how FastTrack makes migrations a breeze. Finally, we will share recent and upcoming changes in the migration benefit and show you how you can get started today. Before we specifically talk about migrations, let's take a high-level look at the FastTrack benefit. FastTrack for Microsoft 365 helps organizations decrease time to value when deploying cloud solutions. Specifically, FastTrack can help you configure identity, device management, modern security, enable chat-based collaboration, meetings, voice, and live events with Microsoft Teams. Deploy Windows 10 productivity with Microsoft 365 apps and Microsoft Edge. Migrate email and data, plus ensure application compatibility with the App Assure service. FastTrack is an ongoing and repeatable benefit delivered by Microsoft engineers and approved FastTrack ready partners. It's included in your eligible subscription at no additional cost. All customers can log into the FastTrack website to access planning, resources, and training assets. Many resources do not require you to log in at all. Customers with 150 licenses have access to FastTrack specialists to support their Microsoft 365 cloud deployment and adoption. For those customers with 500 plus licenses, FastTrack will perform your data and email migrations for you, freeing up time to allow you to deploy more products at one time. When considering how to approach a migration, one of the first things to think about is who will do the migration, meaning who will plan and manage the project, manage schedules, configure environments, install tooling, run and monitor the migration. One approach is for you to do all this on your own, which is a great option when you have the people in-house with both availability and experience to get the job done. The good news is Microsoft 365 gives you easy-to-use native migration features and tools to be successful at no additional cost with your eligible plan. Exchange Online offers native capability to migrate Exchange on-prem, Gmail, and an assortment of IMAP platforms. In SharePoint Online and OneDrive for Business, you'll find the Migration Manager platform for file shares, SharePoint migration tool for SharePoint on-prem, and our Mover platform for cloud platforms like Google Drive, Box, and Dropbox. Our out-of-the-box tools and features are used by thousands of our customers to migrate the mail and data content to Microsoft 365. Now, all of this Microsoft 365 migration capability, you may want to consider getting some help for your team to plan and conduct migrations. We have many FastTrack ready partners with migration experience that can augment your team and provide an array of consulting services for a fee. This is a great option when you are looking to partially or fully outsource your migration to skilled resources with deep experience. Finally, if you have many third-party tools in the market that can provide advanced migration features, again, at an additional cost, this should be considered an option for evaluating the native migration capabilities of Microsoft 365 against the specific requirements of your project. Have an advanced requirement, perhaps content filtering, archiving, etc. Chances are there is a third-party product that can help. Again, our great partners can assist in this space. What if there was a way to get the best of both worlds? A way to get expert migration guidance as needed for your team to be successful in planning and managing their migration, and 24/7 by 365 migration monitoring and support to ensure your migration is a success. All of this at no additional cost. This is the FastTrack migration benefit. Let's take a deeper look. Microsoft FastTrack assists with planning and migrating email and data to Microsoft 365. With FastTrack, you get our expertise to help you accelerate your migration. We help thousands of organizations, ranging from 500 to 1 million users, successfully migrate to Microsoft 365. We successfully migrated over 31 petabytes of data and migrated data for some of the world's largest organizations. That means you can get reliability that you can trust. What does this cost, you ask? FastTrack helps tenants with 500 or more licenses at no additional cost with an eligible plan. Our flexible process enables you to create migration projects at your convenience with support from our team of migration specialists. And we offer world-class security and services that follow applicable regulatory standards and laws to help ensure that your data migration is safe and secure. For customers, the FastTrack migration benefit enables you to connect just in time to a migration specialist and get your questions answered. With FastTrack, we constantly monitor your migrations 24/7 by 365 to ensure things go smoothly. Something pops up in the middle of the night, your team can rest peacefully knowing someone is there supporting you. If something does pop up which impacts your migration, we are there triaging and taking actions to attempt to resolve the issue. If the issue happens to be caused by something we need you to change in your environment, you'll receive guidance and support from our qualified migration specialist on what happened, what to do next, and how to continue your migration. With our migration digital experience, you can forward schedule your migration ahead of time with no complicated PowerShell to manage. You'll receive email notifications as your project and migration events progress from start to completion, and your results are visualized in Power BI for easy consumption. Qualified customers get expert guidance, support, and tooling. See our FastTrack service description for more details on features and availability. What if you're a partner? How can the FastTrack benefit help you? Partner also get these benefits that customers do, 24/7 by 365 expert guidance, monitoring, and support. You and your customer can then focus project investments on additional value add services, such as on-site support, adoption, change management, and solution development. The FastTrack benefit and process includes a number of customer responsibilities, including program management, scheduling, and prerequisite administration, which is another great area where partners can build a solution offering based on the FastTrack benefit. So what can FastTrack help you move today? If you're coming from Google, we offer both Gmail, G Drive, and Google Shared Drives, migration to Exchange, Microsoft Teams, SharePoint Online, and OneDrive for Business. Have files and other cloud services like Box and Dropbox? We can move those files too. And of course, we offer support moving your on-prem content from Exchange and file shares into Microsoft 365. There are no limits to the number of times that you can use the FastTrack benefit throughout the duration of your subscription. So if you have content spanning multiple platforms, you can use the benefit as many times as needed. So what do we specifically migrate? That can change between different source systems, but high level for mail-based migration, we move your mail, messages, your folders, contacts, and meetings. For file content, we migrate the files, folder structure, metadata, permissions, and sharing settings. For more information, please refer to the service description. At this point, you're probably thinking that the FastTrack benefit sounds like a great way to conduct your migration, but you may be wondering how it works. The process begins with learning how each one of the migration benefits works and planning your migration. We've created a learning center in the FastTrack migration experience to walk you through topics such as prerequisites, project planning, scheduling, security, privacy, and technical architecture. Need to ask a question? Connect with your migration specialist quickly and easily for ad hoc support. The next step is to create your new migration project. Think of your project as the central point of control where you'll find all the features related to the given type of migration. The project gives you a quick reference to configuration steps you need to set up your migration. And once active, gives you a quick glimpse of what migration events are up next so you can manage your migration schedule. Once you have your project set up and ready for migration, the next step is to create one or more migration events. Think of an event as a specific day, time, you want a specific number of mailboxes or drives to begin migrating. The great thing about our scheduling experience is that it enables you to predefine and forward schedule your migration without worrying about having intrinsic knowledge of how the underlying migration tools and protocols work. During the entire process, you'll receive email notifications letting you know how each step of the process is going, from event kickoff, ongoing monitoring, and final completion. As I've said, you always have access to your migration specialist to answer your questions and help resolve issues. Finally, you need to get the results of your migration. To see specifics regarding your migration, including scheduled units, success metrics, and percentage complete, log on to your Power BI interface and get the details and data visualizations you need to get the status. Let's take a look at how all of this works. So as you navigate to the FastTrack portal, once you've logged in, this is what you will see. This is our FastTrack portal. And within the FastTrack portal, we have various areas, but the area around migration that you'll be most concerned with is our Migrate tab. Once we click on our Migrate tab, essentially where you've come to is you have come to the Migration Hub as we know it. And within the Migration Hub, you have two areas of interest. You have the Learning Center. So within the Learning Center, you have information about each migration type. This will tell you, so if you're doing an Exchange migration, for example, you would click on Exchange migration tile, and then you would learn about the Exchange migration within this section. This section of the Learning Center is dedicated to Exchange, and within Exchange, you would get information related to how to onboard, security. You'll get a general overview, as you can see. So here under the migration overview has a general overview about what's going to happen in the migration, information that you need to provide. Anytime you reach out to our migration specialist, it'll give you information that you need to project and provide. Here, a lot of times customers feel like they're ready to go. We give you kind of a quick synopsis of what you need in terms of get started and do what you need to do. And then we provide a migration lifecycle that kind of gives you a sense of what steps you're going to take along your journey when it comes to the migration. And then we have downloadable content that you can also pull down so that you can learn about it on demand and not having to read it all at once. And so this has various sections that you can go through. Our recommendation is always that you run through all the sections, learn about the migration, learn about what's going to happen, what prerequisites you need to configure, what information you're going to need. And then when you feel like you're ready and you've consumed your Learning Center, then you navigate back to Migrate. And then here, the second component that I want to point out is your project card. So your project card is the genesis of your migration. This is where you first create your project, and everything tied to your migration is going to be tied to this project card. So let's create a project card, and we're going to migrate an Exchange environment. So I'm going to call it my Exchange project. This is going to be an Exchange hybrid configuration, right? I'm going to provide my target delivery domain. And this will be the final component of information that I need to create a project card. I will go ahead and create a project card. And so what's happening on the back end is we're creating all the wire up and all the information that's needed for this project card so that when we begin to schedule migration events, all this information is already tied to this project card. This will be your genesis point. This is where you'll go in and provide all the information that's needed for your migration project. This will include information like recipients list. So any person that you plan on keeping informed about the migration and what's happening, this will be part of that list. As you can see, our project has created successfully. And so now as we go in and we look for our project card, we begin to, go to our Exchange project. So here, this is, again, the starting point of your project. So you'll need to fill out some information so that everybody can be kept apprised of what's happening with your migration. You'll also have to provide credentials for us to access your environment. From here, you can also grab your Power BI credentials so that you can look at your data and your content. And then, as always, you have the ability to create your events and then view all the events that you've created to basically see what the behavior is like, what's going on, what's happening, so forth and so on. So if we look at the managed recipients list, this list is really about who do you want to communicate within your organization or with your partners or any Microsoft resources that are helping you with your migration. This information would go here. So you could add me, to this list, right? You add me. So now me would get all email related to this migration. And you can add as many folks as you would like in this list. And all these people will receive updates about the migration as the migration progresses. The next piece is related to credentials. When we configure the environment needs to access your environment. And so the way we do this is we use the mail replication service, and we have what is known as certificate authentication. The certificate authentication is what provides credentials to your environment that allows us to schedule the events and do all the back-end wire-ups that are required related to the certificate auth. So I would enable certificate authentication. I would then download the script, and then I would go through the process of setting that script up in my environment so that I appropriate the correct permissions and roles to the certificate to do the work that's required. So once that work is complete, we'd come back. We then look at the project. We've looked at we've given our recipients, we've given our credentials. And then the next big step is to add an event. So when you add an event, what you're doing is you're basically telling us, FastTrack, I want to move these mailboxes at this time. And so I schedule my first batch, right? And I have some level of identifier to signify this is when I want to run it, for example. I say the event type, synchronization or complete, for example. Now, the difference between these two types of events is a synchronization event takes the mailbox to 95% complete. And then when you're ready to finish the mailbox, finish the move, you come back and you schedule a completion event. So I'm going to schedule a synchronization event. I'm going to pick a day. In my case, I'm going to pick February 21st, which is a Sunday. And then I'm going to pick a specific time that I want this to run. And as you can see, we have plenty of different options in terms of time and when you can run it that given day. In my particular case, I'm going to run it at 2 a.m. on the 21st. And then I'm going to upload my schedule file. So then I come in, I upload my schedule file, I add my event, and we will look at the schedule file so that you have a sense of what information is needed in order for you to have a successful batch. And so here, the schedule file is being uploaded, and the information is being used to basically get that event scheduled and processed and ready for the Sunday 21st at 2021 to actually run the event. So as we come back, as you can see, here's my batch. The status of the mailbox is confirmed. I have one mailbox that's defined within that schedule file, and there we go. So this batch will run on Sunday. There's nothing else that you need to do as a customer. You just scheduled it. It's good to go. Our migration engine on the back end will run. It'll pick up this event on the 21st at 2 a.m. Central Standard Time, and it'll pick up that event. It'll run it. It'll do the scheduling on the back end on your tenant, and the work will begin. So then the final piece of your project card is essentially extracting your BI credentials. So here you click on the Ready tab, on the Ready link, and then here, this gives you access to your Power BI. So here's the link here. Here's your username. You can copy the username. You can copy the password. You can copy the password. You can view the password. You can even reset the password. And so once you have that information and once your batch is run and has completed, then you can go to your dashboard to view your results. So I'm going to give you a high-level preview of what happens within the actual Power BI and let you kind of get a sense of what's happening on the back end. So as you can see, we have 4 tabs related to your project, your migration event, right? This overview gives you an overall picture of what's happening to your mailboxes as you're moving them, right? It'll give you information about in progress. It'll give you information about which boxes were healthy, which boxes you needed to investigate, and which are unhealthy. And it'll give you a sense, a proportional sense of what's good, what's bad, what's going well. So in this particular case, 40% of our mailboxes are unhealthy, which obviously they need remediation. So you would work with your migration support team to figure out what's wrong with the mailboxes and what actions you need to take to correct those mailboxes and rerun them in the migration space. Here is schedules. So this basically tells you what's scheduled to run for your environment. It'll give you a high-end view of what's coming, what's happening, what's already ran, so forth and so on. In the in-flight tab, you will get information related to what's actually in flight. So if you run a batch over the weekend, and then you come in on Monday and you want to take a look and see, okay, what's in flight, what's the status, this would be the view that you see. And then finally, your completion. So this would provide information related to those jobs, those events that have completed and what their overall status is, right? You get migration status. You get green, you're good. Red is bad. Yellow is it needs further investigation to complete. But this gives you an overall view for the last 90 days of what's happened with your environment, what's going on, and what steps you need to take as the customer using this benefit to successfully move those mailboxes. Now, you may be wondering how you prepare to complete your migrations using the FastTrack migration benefit. Think of the experience as a partnership where your team and FastTrack both have a vested interest in your migration process. Your responsibilities include managing your project schedule and project management as needed. We provide remote guidance on the high-level project steps required, but we recommend you incorporate these steps into your project methodology and approach. Any change management, any processes your company has for technical change and preparing your users for migrating to Microsoft 365, you can find helpful templates and guidance for change management on the FastTrack portal. Implementing any configuration changes in your source and target environment needed to complete migrations. Providing our system access to your source and target environments, building and managing the event schedules, and providing post-migration support for your users. FastTrack's responsibilities include providing technical support. We have self-help guides and a staff of migration specialists you can contact to answer any migration question you may have. 24/7 by 365 event monitoring. We provide expert around-the-clock monitoring to make sure your migrations go smoothly. Project and event communication to let you know how each step of the migration process is going. And in the event there is a problem, triaging and remediation of an issue, we'll provide remediation guidance. Best practices. Let's review some of the recommended practices to consider when planning your migrations. Since the migration of accessing and moving data between your source and target environments, it's good to engage your network and security teams early. This helps them to understand how we securely transfer your data during the entire process. Think about running smaller events for your first set of migrations. We recommend that you set up a few staged mailboxes, drives, or cloud accounts to test the process and tooling to make sure you're comfortable with how it will work. Once you have successfully test runs, start to work with smaller sets of production users to pilot the end-to-end experience. For large drive migrations, consider migrating portions of them in parallel by assigning ownership to different subfolders in the source and/or configuring your migration schedule at a subpath level to move multiple top subfolders at one time. In terms of throughput, remember that your project progresses, you'll see varying rates of data velocity depending on the time of day and usages of your Microsoft 365 tenant. Also keep in mind that the pattern of rate of change can happen at any time. And of course, don't forget to have a change management plan in place so that your users are ready when the migration is complete. You'll also need to appropriately support your users after the migration is complete. When it comes to executing your migration, in general, to achieve peak velocity, think about how you can scale your environment and schedule horizontally to get more mailboxes or drives migrating in parallel versus trying to optimize a single drive or mailbox throughput. Try to schedule larger migration events. We found that when customers stretch projects over a longer amount of time, it increases the complexity because you have to manage being in two places at one time. Many factors go into exactly how large your event should be, but typically we see thousands of mailboxes, drives, and accounts scheduled in a single event. Most importantly, whether Exchange or SharePoint, please avoid directly changing the underlying batches or jobs we create in your tenant and always use online migration tool or support specialists for emergency changes to ensure your migration events flows smoothly. You've already planned for change management and user support, so don't forget to follow through on those plans throughout your migration process. Whether you're new to FastTrack migration experience or you're already familiar with the process, there are some great new features we've released. Direct chat with data migration specialists. You'll be able to create migration projects and manage them on your own using our data migration process on the FastTrack site. You'll get access control to your migration projects and an improved Power BI reporting experience. Looking forward, new features that we will be releasing soon are our data migration specialist will be able to chat with you in additional languages, manual and automated prerequisite verification to prepare for your migration, advanced migration integration, features like webhook events, notifications, and you'll be able to migrate your file shares into Microsoft Teams. Finally, I'd like to ask everyone to review the FastTrack migration description to learn more about the FastTrack benefit, including details of our scope and eligibility requirements. Explore the FastTrack portal to see all the helpful content and guidance available to all customers. Visit the Data Migration Learning Center to learn more about the specifics of migration and how our tooling and process works. And most importantly, go out and create a new migration project. Thank you and happy migrating.